Hello traders, welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. My name is Adam from Trade with Precision. First thing I want to do is just have a quick look at the Forex calendar. Just want to draw your attention to UK news. We've got inflation data that I want to keep an eye out for, and US as well. Housing and building permits as well, get a sense of what's happening with regards to the potential bubble in the US, and then of course having a look just at general inflation versus unemployment or jobless claims, as well as Fed Chair Powell speech. Just want to see what the temperament's not the correct word, in terms of the sentiment, I beg your pardon, of what that is and what that might project for sort of upcoming rate hikes or rate cuts. So just keep an eye on these, because that's where I would expect some increased volatility in the markets. That being said, let's go across and have a look at the markets. There's a couple of charts that I would like to draw your attention to. Let's start off here with the Euro USD, the daily. And I'd like you to just take note, there is potentially a higher low here. Even as we speak, the daily candle's looking nice and bullish, heading above the 20-period moving average. So you can see generally here, for example, dipped above, potentially dipped below. Here we're above, we went below, we've got a higher low here. There is the potential, especially if we break through this 1.06 and up to 106.35, if we break and close above that, we're likely to see a bigger correction that will see us, excuse me, heading in towards 1.07. So what does that mean? It means that essentially we would see possibly a weaker US dollar across the board, not just with currencies, but with commodities. Just wanted to highlight a couple of currency pairs that I find interesting. For example, here, pound Swissy on the daily has broken through this level of support and is coming back up to test the for resistance. This might provide some potential shorting opportunities should this trend continue to the downside. Okay, then have a look at Euro Swissy. Similar, except here's the difference. I'm always a little bit more wary when price is heading back to test a level immediately within 2 or 3 candles. That can often imply a false breakup. So for example, here we have got a bullish MACD. All right, we've got lower lows, but higher lows on the MACD. This could ultimately turn out, especially if price carries back over above this level, that could potentially result in a false breakout. All right, whereas pound Swissy looks a lot more healthier to me. Then I want to draw your attention here to Euro Yen. Euro Yen is definitely testing the upper limits here, and there might well be a breakout to the upside. Looking at it here especially, looking particularly bullish, nice bullish candle within off a level of support within the buy zone here, which is the area between the 20 and the 10 period moving averages. You can see there's definitely some resistance in this area. You can see that collapse, that sort of failure. And fatigue setting in amongst all the candles here. We're looking at it daily, and it's actually trying to change into an uptrend here. So it's shifted from sort of a bit of a bull flag with lower highs coming in. It's now attempting to produce an uptrend on the daily. But so there's a very high probability this is going to break out, move to the upside. If I compare it here to pound yen, that is not yet in an uptrend. So there's a lot going on, but it is possible that the yen pairs might see continued moves to the upside. Now let's have a look at gold. So gold is pretty significant. I want to just take the move we had at the tail end of last week and talk about that a bit. We've currently got a very bullish candle setting up here, and it looks as though the momentum, this should hold if this level of support. There is a very fair possibility that we're going to see this continue and work its way up to 2,000 and beyond. Will that happen within the next few days? Possibly. We do need a bit of a retracement. It looks as though we might already have had that, and then a continuation up. One of the things I like to do is just mark the downward sort of slope here of the previous highs. You can see that once we start to cross above that, we're starting the angle of momentum is starting to shift, and price is starting to test new highs. So that is looking very good. If we then have a look at crude oil, one of the things I would comment on here is that we come back, found a nice level of rejection at resistance here. We've come back, produced a nice bullish inside candle, closing near the highs, and we are currently in an uptrend. So this is possessing, and we can see the 50, the 20, and the 10 have reordered into a bullish formation. MACD is trending higher, RSI is trending higher. All of this implies that the momentum is bullish and is much more likely to continue to the upside. And so certainly for day traders, there should be the good opportunity. Let's go even to the daily charts as well. This implies there is a good fair possibility we're going to see opportunities to trade this on the way back up to that level. Then let's have a look at the global indices. So we currently have them in a nice uptrend. You'll see I've also put another trend line coming down here, and the market is in an uptrend on the daily. It's working its way up to test these next levels. So far looking nice and bullish in isolation. You can see we're still in a downtrend on the weekly and we're tracing back up, but the market right now is looking way more bullish than bearish. If we compare this to the S&P 500, which is attempting to go back up into a daily uptrend, especially if it could work its way back above the 50-period moving average. You can see here we are traveling above the 50-period moving average, then we drop below it, and then above it, below it, below it. Now I'm trying to get us back above the 50-period, and again, work its way. If it can break through that downward sloping trend line, we could see that market then continue to the upside. So we think of this as we're currently sitting within a bull flag. Right, and let's go and have a look at US tech. So this is a little bit different. In other words, it's a little bit more bullish. I'm also going to put another level in here. So we've got a nice little bit of level of resistance, support and support and support. And overall, this is very much attempting to move to the upside. Break below the low, bit of a now almost forming a bullish engulfing candle, and also about to break this downward sloping trend line. So once we start to do that, that momentum becomes, right now it's currently bearish, it starts to become more and more bullish. Also, it starts to work its way above the 10, the 20, and the 50. Price action is sitting above that. So there are lots of separate indicators pointing out that this is looking nice and bullish. Again, looking at it from a weekly perspective, we can see here that it's a very nice bullish candle here. Then we had a bit of indecision, and now the market is continuing to push to the upside. So also bullish symbols there and bullish signals. We've got the UK 100 as well here, trying to head a little bit higher. That also looks nice and bullish. So that's coming from a non-US market. And then finally, let's have a quick look at some of Bitcoin. So this, we can have a look at Bitcoin Cash versus US dollar, also attempting to climb a little bit higher. Just want to check that actually on my list as well. There we go. So I've just moved it across to Bitcoin as well. You can see we are stuck within this range over here, but we're working our way up to the top of the range, having just tapped it a little bit there. So overall, this looking relatively nice and bullish. Right? Once we break outside of the top of that range, I'd expect it to move quite a bit higher. And so overall, you can see this is also reflecting the general bullishness of the markets and that weaker US dollar. And then finally, on the last of my list, looking at equities, I want to talk to you about a little bit about NVidia. So when I look at NVidia, let's have a look at that monthly chart as well. It's very overextended. I would love to see this have a bit of a correction down towards 330, potentially down even to 350, but towards this area where I'd expect it to then be able to determine if it can turn around. It is still overextended in my opinion. And when you look at it from a weekly perspective, we're getting the formation here of a potential head and shoulders. So what I'm looking for, I'm looking to see if we break this neckline or break out of the bottom of this range, then I would expect a correction down towards 327, 330 at least. And that is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I want to wish you a wonderful week. Remember to make sure you're using a strategy and managing the risk appropriately, and you have a risk management plan. There we go. Thank you very much.